Hello and welcome to the Handicapable Black Woman Throne Room. My view of humanity is a whole new tea. Hello and how are my lovelies, my royalty? Okay. Yeah, this is going to be another African American month kind of episode. It's going to be an interesting month because with everything going on with ICE, which, yeah, if you don't know, now you're gonna know. Yeah, I'm against ice. I don't like ice whatsoever. And for some reason, I'm thinking about some of the men I dated in my past, wondering which one of them went to those depths. Yeah, Pete, I think you're one of them. If you don't know, catch up. I have over 600 episodes for you to enjoy. All of them, I talk and put in my real life dating and political debates and conversation. And a lot of them I have screenshots, which shows the proof. And yeah, I also have my Patreon. So go on and check that out. I have part of it's free and part of it's $2. $2. And then also, I have a $4 one. So if you go to Starbucks and get a coffee, ta da, it's just, it'll kind of feel like a January for most months because it'll just be like an extra coffee for your month. So, anyway. So, yeah, check that out because I show the river of racism, the hate against Black women, and just all of the bigotry, dating nightmares, and how much, especially conservative men, hate the left, like Democrat, liberal, progressive women, and they don't even understand or comprehend a lot of the democratic or Democrat and democratic terms that come out of their mouth, especially when they try to say something's communist and things like that. It's called like shut the crap, like, or oh, he's not a fascist, like shut. Mm. You don't think he's a fascist? You really don't? You don't? You still don't? How do you say you're racist without saying you're racist? And you're cheering on ICE. Yeah, if you're cheering on ICE, you're still a big, yeah. It's like some people are kind of waking up and stuff, but if you still haven't woken up on the fact with how ICE is treating human beings, remember you were the party that said all lives matter. You're the ones who are always talking about how you're Christian and all this other mess, but then with your Christianity, you can't wait. Instead of bringing up the love of thy neighbor, the love and compassion, the forgiveness and everything like that, you want to bring up slavery and how slavery isn't a bad thing because it's in the Bible. Yeah, yeah, that's what you want to bring up. And you don't want to bring up how the orange guy kept talking about how the Hispanic community, oh, is taking black jobs. Not taking white jobs, taking black jobs. But then he won't define what the black jobs are. But then once the Hispanic community were being deported, he expected black people, and he's disappointed and upset. He spoke about this mid last year about how he was surprised that we weren't just going to jump and go and get those jobs, those poorly paid, just terribly like structured jobs. Yeah. And a lot of these corporations, they're still upset and pissed off on how certain high rising companies and or the employees of them are trying to unionize because they are tired of the crap that is going on within this country, the mistreatment, the capitalism. And I remember, yeah, when I got called in for jury duty, there was a nice woman, but I could tell she was kind of slightly MAGA, or at least she's on the right. But she said a couple things that was kind of MAGA, especially when it came to capitalism, because we were talking and things, and I brought up that I was going to be self-publishing my books, and she was like, "Honey, why? No, you need to just write these companies, get it published, and make that money, and get this and get that." And I was just like, you know what? Like, no, I love small business, and I got my MBA. I used to try to apply for those jobs. But it's like, and I kind of want to work for maybe a small business marketing or advertising company still, but the mistreatment in the high up corporations and the belittling and just the, if for a lot of the people who have millions of dollars, they didn't make that millions of dollars the Christian way. For a lot of them, they had to cheat the system and do a lot of people wrong and pay people very little. And when someone passed away on their bathroom tile floor and employees came mourning and emotional and stuff, he threatened, like the manager said, that they better get back to work or they're going to get written up. Yeah, uh-huh. And then same person when their employees are trying to unionize, having people undercover to figure out who and in order to stop them. Yeah. Yeah. So yeah, as a Democrat, yes, like I love small business and I keep saying I'm going to encourage and talk about more small businesses and I keep meaning to, but then certain people decided to vote for a dictator wannabe, someone who literally tore down a part of our White House, and we still got a huge, humongous hole in the White House because different architects keep saying that they can't build it the size and they don't want to cheat certain rules and things like that, but he doesn't care. He wants his ego. Okay, and this is why South Park was amazing. And yes, I'm hopping. Remember, my channel is as messy as my life, but so many things is domino effects. One thing triggers another, especially when it comes to racism, bigotry, fear of not being the best, fear of not looking the best, fear of not dominance, and promoting such emotions so that you can obtain power. That is what's going on within the Republican Party. That is what's going on with a lot of men out here when it comes to dating. This is what's going on, especially when it comes to white MAGA men. They are scared of losing power. They are scared of no longer being the main character and the plot of this country. Because remember, this country was built for them. When they came over, they saw Native Americans and see, okay, I gotta hop right off for a quick second. Yeah, this is a messy, very messy episode because a lot of these colonizers are still colonizing. Like, they don't want to teach that in American schools because they don't want to show the reality and the victimization and the possibility of the villainy of the white population. Because especially now we've got a group of white people trying to start their own whites only town in America. But then we still have some, like the dominance in Africa, and how they're just going in and buying, and how they own, I believe, around 80%. Yeah, so I think it is around 80% of the land, and especially after the apartheid and everything like that, and the Africans were trying to have things to be more fair, then they wanted to shout racism, because now it's only racism when they are no longer able to get what they want. And like in this country, they built this country so the white man can vote. The white man can invest and have money. The white man can own businesses. The white man can own people. The white man can take over and have abundance and just anything and everything he wants. The white man can choose the woman that he wants, and that he feels obligated to date who he wants to date, which was originally what this episode was supposed to be. Maybe that'll be my next episode, because just even on a race level, like a lot of especially these white men on social medias, they are so upset right now because they feel like they deserve a woman. And Yeah, I'm hopping from country to country because you have to realize that the white man colonized so many countries. Almost every single day, a country has an Independence Day. And now that I think about it, maybe I should see what countries have Independence Days for African American Month. I'm inquisitive, I'm curious. I am. Because part of the history that you guys need to pay attention to, even, is still going on in France. Yeah, because I mean, women had to fight for the right in America to get it resolved, and but I feel like the conservatives are trying to fight for men to have the power to have it back. And what I'm talking about is, I'm gonna try to put the link in either the episode or in the description or whatever. But yeah, did you know in France, until like yeah, right now, when if a woman is married to a man, he can't R word her. He can't grape her as if she's property, as if she is owned by him, as if his word is just everything. But in America, I believe it was until the 1990s, I want to say 1993 or something like that. It was kind of like the same thing. A woman could not file rape charges against the man because no, that's your husband. You're supposed to. You have to, give him satisfaction. You have to please his needs. That's your man. You're his woman. That's part of your obligation. And if you don't fulfill that obligation, then he can go and cheat on you. That's why, yeah, part of me wonders, is that why cheating is not against the law? Because it is in the Bible, and they always want to talk about the Bible. But then we keep finding out that a lot of these Republican men were too busy cheating on their wives. And a lot of these Fox hosts kept getting caught, and now one of them works for the president. Yeah, but yeah, it's like he kept cheating on his wife, but then some of these other conservative hosts got caught cheating on their wives, but it's not illegal. And for some of them, they want to say that their wives didn't act right, but did they act right when they went and cheated? And did they act right in the house? Because it's like men who have cheated on me. Do you know, like, because I told you about last year how at least around 8 different exes from my past try to call me back, try to either get with me or apologize because they knew they did me wrong. 8. 8. Come on now. That is ridiculous. 8. But with some of them, they were like, no, you were the best woman I ever had. And they said that they cheated on me because they thought that since I was so great and amazing, and with one of them even admitted, since I walk odd. But yeah, now I'm diagnosed with a disability, so if you don't know about that, go catch up. Or remember, handicapable black woman. So yeah, put two and two together. But yeah, he said since I walk odd, he thought I was gonna be too scared to leave. He thought that he just had dominance over me, and that is like he could do anything and everything to me because he said I was like one of the best women he's ever met in his life. And he said he knew that, but since I walked weird, he was like, he knew I was going to be in fear of being alone, of being single and everything. And that I would never think that I would ever find someone that was going to actually value me and be worth my time. And a lot of these men, especially a lot of these white men, think that, especially of a black woman. And a lot of these white men try to date black women because they think, oh, I can look better. But then they forget a lot of the black women, or black women as a whole, we are the most educated demographic. And don't play with us. Don't play with us. Because we don't take that crap. We don't take lies. It's like we will put you in your place, call you in your place. And that's why a lot of us, we're trying to be as independent as humanly possible. Because if you even try to lay a hand on us, If you try to do any of that mess, deuces, bye, sayonara, like you can do by yourself. We won't care. I've had men in my past, or especially white men, write me telling me that I was going to beg for them back, that I was going to be so sorry. And some of them even put the race card out there. It's like, what other white man's going to want you? Why would a white man ever want to date a black woman? You're a good one, so you're lucky, you're fortunate, but it's like there's not going to be a lot of us out there. So you better stay with me while you can. Yeah. And some of them kind of say this, so look at my Patreon because I have the screenshots that will back up what I'm saying. But and I have so many more to download too. It's exhausting. It's just exhausting. But this country was built for white men, and the white men know it. And some of these conservative white women, they want to give up their right to vote. They're really stupid. They're really dumb. Okay, I mean that with all of the disrespect, the petty disrespect, every drop of it. They are stupid and idiotic. You want to give up your right to vote. But that one chick, that Pearl girl, the reason why you have your right to vote, the reason why you have a bank account, because yeah, if we weren't allowed to vote, you would have to have already married. Because look at what the Heritage Foundation is trying to do right now. They're trying to force it so that you have to marry by 30. And you're not married yet, are you, Pearl? You're not married, are you, little girl? Yeah, I call you little because that's the kind of, yeah, your yeah, your brain cells don't really work at full steam, do they? Because all of the things you are able and capable of doing. And didn't you go to college? I don't know if you graduated. I don't know if you finished. You don't act like you I mean, but I mean, you have the career online where you're downgrading and putting down women all day while making bank. But that bank account that you're making back in the day would not have been allowed, or you would have had to have your father or your husband's permission. But you don't want that, right? And even if you do have an education or higher degree, you would have had to get permission again, right? So maybe instead of trying to give up your rights, you need to sit down and figure out, where would you be right now if it wasn't for the woman that fought for you to be able to do the things that you're doing right now? And how come, yeah, if you don't want the right to vote, if you want to just stay at home and be a good little housewife, why aren't you doing that right now? It's like, don't you have a man? And then even like you had some things to say about the African American community. But yeah, like, is it past tense? But weren't you dating a person of color or black man? Yeah. Um, yeah, it's like I'm kind of taking digs at her because she deserves it for one, but also like a lot of these, yeah, because there was also that other no good racist bigot of a white woman who kept saying the N word and everything like that. Yeah, okay, and just know all of this is in my opinion, but I got receipts. Like, okay, like it's all over YouTube. The receipts are all over, so just look it up. Look up Pearl. Look up the other, like the one woman who she was in her kitchen stirring, saying the N word, proud to say the N word, and then she got booted and everything because she kept saying it so much. She was in blackface and everything like that. But look, her isn't her baby daddy black? Isn't her baby daddy black? Yeah. So a lot of these women want to say all of these things and they want to get their rights taken away, but then don't they know that interracial dating and marriage was against the law too? And do you think white men would have voted? Because you know what? I'm going to look that up too. I need to look that up. But yeah, it's like 1920 was when we were allowed to vote, or women were allowed to vote. Black people, yeah, we still had to, yeah. Half of my identity still had to fight. But yeah, yeah. It's like so many things were. in development or came to pass because of the women's vote. But you want to stay in the kitchen. You want to be a good little girl to a man, right? And a lot of these men, they want you to obey. They want you to get permission to even read it. Like, there was that one no good, lousy bigot of a so-called preacher man. I forgot his I don't remember these people's name because they waste my time. And I have brain cells for more important matters. But he said on his show that whenever his wife wants to read a book, she has to get his permission. He wants her to just basically read the Bible, right? Yeah, yeah. But this country was made for the white man. That's why when they came over and they saw Native Americans, at first they tried to enslave them, remember? But they were kind of dumb because they didn't. Native Americans are native to this land. They know this land better than anybody. Okay. So while they were trying to be enslaved, they didn't need the underground railroad. Shoot, they knew this land like the back of their hand. They were like, we got this. And so then they had to think of another because remember, they were too lazy. And this is why they try to call African Americans lazy. This is why they try to put down African American demographic, but to a point where now some African Americans actually fall for that mess. The emotional ABUSC, they fell for it because they allowed white men to tell them throughout history that they are worthless and lazy and not worth paying of their fair share, not worth allowing to own homes that they should be able to own, not getting the acre and the mule. Instead, it was the slave owners. But yeah, they were too lazy to do the work. The white man was too lazy to do the work. So then they went and kidnapped some Africans and enslaved them. And yeah, it's like, to me they were treated like cattle. Yeah. It's chattel, but I call it cattle because they treated us like animals. They treated my ancestors like animals. It's like yeah, so yeah. And it's like it's disgusting, but it's true. They whipped us and they forced us to not be able to learn. And again, to that little pearl girl, you wouldn't have been able to get that higher education if it wasn't for the women's right to vote and things, or at least at the level that you possibly have it. I don't know, again, I would have to look up if you got your degree or how many degrees you might have. I don't know, but yeah, especially if you were supposed to have gotten married by 30, which you aren't married, so you would already be breaking part of Heritage Foundation's new, like what they're trying to construct and trying to enforce in this community, in this country. Yeah. Yeah. And there are some churches who they don't want us to be able to dress how we want to dress anymore, like the way they want to like create and force but see, and that's why with 9/11 they were trying to say that the Muslim community was trying to come over to force their rules and their ideas and everything within this country, but the whole time the Christian community, and this is one reason why I started seeing red flags at my church, because I kept hearing that, but then I kept hearing what my pastor and my bishop were saying. And part of me was just like, isn't that what you're saying that the Muslim community is doing? Isn't this what you're trying to say the Muslim community is? It sounds so really familiar. And even with the whole marriage and even how they want, like my bishop and pastor both kind of preached on in different years and decades, how the woman should just stay home and take care of the babies. She can start a career later. She doesn't need all the career and stuff like that. And my bishop, even like years and years ago, when it came to education, it's just like, he was like, You need to, support the man and encourage him and make sure he's the best. Like, this was so many years ago. And, I keep saying that I want to go and look through my mom's stuff. And because I don't think I have it, because I was only able to start getting CDs and DVDs once had my own job or whatever. But my mom, almost every week, unless the line was crazy long, she got the tapes. She got the CDs. I still have a tape player. I want to see if I can find some of the messages that my bishop used to say about women and dating, because some of it was so disgusting. And because I even remember the one sermon about women in education in college, because my sister and I, we were about to graduate in a year. I think it was our junior year in high school. But I remember we got in the car, and my mom, like that, she hardly ever did this. But she was like, "Don't you listen to that bishop. Don't you listen to him. Oh, you're going to college. You're getting an education. I don't care what he says this week, blah, 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 blah." And she hardly ever did that. But I'll never forget that Sunday. Because when we got in that car, oh, she was just like, "I don't care. No, no, you're going to school. You're going to college." And that week right there was kind of a red flag of, why is he trying to stop women from getting educated? Why do men want to just look for the stupid women? Because I've noticed that. And that's one reason why a lot of men only want to date me once, either that or my disability and things like that. But a lot of them even said that I was too smart. Or remember Tomas? Yeah, go back to that episode. He even said that he would never measure up to me. I was too good for him. I've heard that so many times. And then even with Mr. Lakaki, he tried to stop me from getting my MBA, my second master's. Because first he bragged about it. He hid his true feelings. But once I was like one third of the way done, I started seeing signs. And then once I was halfway done, that's when he would threaten to punch holes in the wall if I continued doing my homework and things like that. Yeah, he didn't want me to finish. And then once I was done and I broke up with him because I never wanted to date him, remember he was the one who threatened me? He ran into the middle of the street with a weapon to his wrist and stuff. Yeah, go watch that. But then with Mr. No Heart, he was so upset that I had my degrees and then I was about to be a adjunct professor and things like that. I've like now it's like I think I've taught around, I think maybe just over 20 class. I'm right around 20 classes or whatever. But he couldn't stand that. And every time his mother would put me down, he enjoyed it. He never backed me up. Especially, even though he was asking me for money. It's like he wanted to be the main character. He wanted the world to go around him and Mr. Lakaki. They always wanted to blame the world for their failures. Mr. No Heart dropped out of college. Mr. Lakaki dropped out of high school, but they kept blaming everyone else for their failures. And then they would try to tell me, "Oh, you're trying to be perfect. Oh, you're trying to be Miss Goody. Oh, you're trying to be better than everyone else. Oh, you think so highly of yourself." No, I'm working my butt off because as a black woman, I have to. In society, I have to be 5, 10, 20, 100 times better than you, even for people to take me seriously. And especially now that I'm diagnosed with my disability. It's like even before they put me down and they didn't take me seriously even with that. But and I still have a lot more to talk about with the subject, so it's probably going to be a part two. But yeah, I've been talking a lot about how this country was made for the white man because it was. People don't want to realize that. They don't want to wake up from that reality, especially these conservative white women. They don't want the power. They're the real lazy ones. They want to just be able to sit at home and not think. They're proud to have husbands or boyfriends that don't want them to think. Thank you so much for listening to the Handy-Capable Black Woman Throne Room. I am a woman, I am of color, and I am handy-capable. But most importantly, I am human and you're human too.